You've said that Donald Trump, in your view, is not an autocrat because his presidency is, quote, the product of a democratic election. But history has shown that even leaders who come to power through elections can still govern in anti democratic ways. So I have to ask, when you consider some of Donald Trump's behaviors and policies, like deploying federal forces to U.S. cities, undermining the Department of Justice's independence, attempting to overturn the 2020 election. Does that not trouble you deeply?
Well, of course. I was really the tip of the spear in the 2020 election in Pennsylvania, where he claimed that it wasn't like as a fair, safe election. Absolutely. I pushed back violently on that. And I don't support many of these things that are happening right now. I don't and never vote for those things. But now for me, it's like, here we are. But I think at this point right now, we are not in an autocracy. We're in a democracy, and that's why they were able to shut our government down. And that doesn't mean that we appreciate what's happening. And that expression, it's not normal. It's like, yes, it isn't normal, but that doesn't mean this is an autocracy right now. And what it does mean that we have a lot of hills that we can choose to die on. But I think for me, I've just been choosing some of the most difficult ones. And that's where I've been, and not supporting, many of these things that are happening.
Do you think that Donald Trump is not conducting himself or not pushing policies, though, that you would consider to be anti-democratic?
What I'm saying is a Democrat with a 90% record voting Democrat. That's a fact. That's not my opinion. That's my numbers.
No, I'm talking about Donald Trump's, some of the things that he's doing. If you don't believe we're living in an autocracy, would you concede that some of the things that he is doing are clearly anti-democratic and also are potentially even unconstitutional?
I guess so. For me, it's like, we have a difference here. It's like, if you believe we live in autocracy, and I don't, and I think we can both agree that we don't agree with the vast majority of those things that's happened here right now. And I wouldn't do those things. I wouldn't have made those same kind of decisions for that. And that's fine where we are right now, a committed Democrat, and we happen to have a different view of these things. It's like, I don't call people fascists or Nazis or compare people to Hitler. And I think that's part of why we lost our election last year.
That's the truth.
If you call the person that you might vote for, that implies that you must be a fascist or you're trying to destroy, our nation. And I know and I love some of those people, and they're not doing any of those things. So that's really the thing. So, and the vast majority of Americans chose that, an option that I did not choose, and actually campaigned effectively the year for Harris and Biden before he dropped out. So that's exactly where we are.
This is not how this was supposed to go.